What is a chain? The mystery of a chain. Oh, look, I wanted to do a quick module on chains just to help you guys get an understanding of what they are, how they impact you, and what's involved. Right, so a chain is a way of describing properties that are linked together, like these little houses here, and it's part of a sales process. Now, as a first-time buyer, you are chain-free, which means that other than the house that you want to buy, you're not linked to any other properties, so you don't need to sell a property in order to buy. You're footloose and fancy-free, and that's why sellers and estate agents normally love first-time buyers. You can move really, really quickly, and that's great. You know, that you're not selling somewhere, you're buying a property here, but what if this seller needs to find somewhere? So if that happens, a chain starts building, and everybody, including you, is then linked as in part of that process. So let's say the seller here needs to find somewhere, they make an offer on this property. The seller there needs to find somewhere and they make an offer on that property. They're including you. There are now 4 people involved in a chain, and this process can go on and on like dominoes, you know, until you've got 5 or 6 properties all linked together in one chain. Look, the size of the chain really depends on whether a seller decides to break the chain or not, and they can do this by going into rented or moving in with family. I mean, that is the ideal scenario. You're buying somewhere and these people just go into rented. They decide to break the chain, is what it's called. You know, they might do this because they're the last property in the chain, or you know, they don't want people having to wait on them, or it gives them more freedom to go and find a property in their own time. Right, there's lots and lots of reasons people decide to break a chain, and you know, thank God they do. Otherwise, you could end up with hundreds of properties in one chain. You know, the most I've ever had is 15 in one chain. That was a nightmare. That was a long process. Now, look, you can also have a split chain. This is very common for people who are getting divorced. So if you're buying a property from a couple who are divorcing and they both need to go and find a property of their own, this means that the chain splits in 2. It's like a crazy web, isn't it? You know, but the important thing is to remember that with chains is that everything you do has an impact on the properties within the chain. So if someone in the chain takes too long to find a property, everyone else is waiting on them. So the chain can't start moving without that. You know, and if you take a long time to reply to inquiries, for example, or you know, you take a long time to come back to your conveyancer, you know, there are other people that are waiting for you to start this process. So just bear that in mind, and have patience with everybody else in the chain as well. You know, they're in the same position. I mean, look, the worst thing for a chain is for a buyer to pull out, you know, as this has a knock-on effect with everyone involved, and everyone then has to wait for that seller to find a new buyer and wait for them to catch up with the whole sales process. And you know, look, can you imagine if you were just days away from exchange of contracts when this happened? You know, this could set the process back by a few months. So you know, be prepared, and it could happen the other way round as well. You know, people anywhere in the chain could pull out. But look, like I said, be prompt with your communication, be considerate of other people in a chain. You know, people might have to give notice on their jobs, they might be getting their kids into new schools. There's a whole ecosystem here, guys, you know, and it's not just about one person and one property, so don't be selfish. Anyway, look, I hope that makes sense. But remember, as first-time buyer, you are chain-free, which means you're in a great position. Sellers will like that. You're not dependent on selling anything in order to buy, but don't abuse that power. Be considerate of others. If there's a chain above you, you know, be clear of what you want from the sales process to stop any last-minute demands for furniture or renegotiations or a panic survey or whatever else. You know, I mean, if you want a private survey, that's great, but get it sorted at the beginning. Don't wait until you're nearing exchange, as you know, you'll send the whole chain into panic and everyone will be waiting on you. You know, I'm saying this because I've seen it happen so many times. Everyone's ready to exchange, and then all of a sudden, first time buyer, a couple of days away from exchange, decides they want a private survey carried out. And you know, look, don't be that person that holds up a chain unnecessarily, as this could result in a mortgage offer expiring somewhere in the chain, or you know, or whatever else, and the whole chain could collapse. You know, so as I said, be considerate, be prompt with your communication, pick a great conveyancer, and just be patient. You know, remember, you're dealing with lots of external parties, so elements of your sale will be out of your control. Accept that, stay positive, and you'll get there. And remember, if you're involved in a chain, You are dealing with people. And you know, people have got a lot of things going on in their lives, and you know, hopefully you've taken something from this, guys. And like I said, you've got the ability, if you are being really patient and you're being as selfless as possible, but things are just taking too long, you know, a little pro tip is that you could start making suggestions that somebody in the chain, whether maybe the person you're buying from, or somebody else, breaks the chain, which means they move out, they go into rented, maybe they move in with family. You know, let's say you were involved in this chain and it was taking 3, 4, 5 months. You know, perhaps all it takes is for this person at the end of the chain to go into rented accommodation for you to be able to exchange contracts, or anyone, in fact, even the people you're buying from. So, guys, the chains are no longer a mystery. So I hope this helps, and I will see you in the next module. Take care.